Bandit in both of their matches. They defeated Fnatic on Cafe and Exist on Skyscraper. But they have a lot of VODs on CAG. Particularly, I'm thinking about that recent loss against Exist. In that match, Cyclops banned out the Thatcher and the Kaid, and we saw their opponents take down the Hibana and the Bandit. So very much focusing on this hard breach game, which is a stark contrast to the match that we saw earlier, and a contrast to what we're seeing here, guys. Cyclops getting rid of that Dockerby, leaving Thatcher and Hibana in for now.
Surely Monty gets banned there, right? There is not a chance in the world that Donuts Varrel are going to let that Monty through against the formidable Anaton on the side of Cyclops on a staple map like Clubhouse.
Okay.
Oh, that is a big risk.
But they clearly have something in mind here, guys, because Buck is not something you'll frequently ban out. Very uncommon one, and Buck is mainly useful for that kitchen area. The thing is, for me, like, I feel like Buck becomes more powerful once Hibana is banned out, because that's when you really need to be working and countering those impact tricking. And when also Buck's secondary hard breaches come into the real meta when Hibana is out. But I feel like that Buck's not going to be as impactful with that Hibana in, so we'll see. Kaid banned out also makes Hibana more of a pick. You're not going to need your Maverick, you're not going to need as much Thatcher pick. And Maestro is quite an uncommon one these days. He's not as in the meta as he has been in the past, but he's very formidable anchor, and on that basement, if it comes down to these last minute pushes, CAG not going to have to deal with that. So what is left in is the big one I'm thinking of, the Hibana for those basement bomb sites. And on the defense, that is Army. Guys, we talked about it so much. It was not present in our previous game, but it is amazing for defending these top 4 sites.
Yes, I fully anticipate that this match is going to be almost the polar opposite to the last one. I would anticipate this fight defender side, the caveat to that being that the Monty will be available when Anaton gets on the attack, and we know that he absolutely loves that operator and thrives even on the international stage. But look, I think as we settle into this one, expecting it to be nice and close, that Buckle in should be the match of the day. Some of the other matches perhaps underperforming a little bit. We are coming back off the back of that victory in the hands of Crest, taking down North. Quite a convincing victory in the end. So hopefully these two can put on a slightly more refined display as well. Over towards CCTV for site number 1. And this attacking lineup, Maverick, main wall, Ying for the execute, and that Ying is going to reappear this evening.
Okay. Observer's just having a look down the chimney for a second. Yes, I love the heavy execute potential that we have on the attacking side. Carwow on that Ying and the Glaz as well. Ooh, nice use of the Azami to actually block up the drone hole. Now you can toss a nice C4 on that, and it can be a really nice way to get an early pick on any player knifing it, but CAG not going to do that. Rento easily drones it. I feel like Donuts Varrel are probably a bit sad not to have the thermite. But have a look at this! All the smoke's going out!
Oh! Where's the counter here? Where is the Warden from Anaton to try and cut down this attack? Well, he manages to find one, now aggressive over towards the breach, but the diffuser's down, the attack now stalled. A pause in the action, a delayed response, now a 4 versus 4, the Glaz. No more smokes in pocket. Oh, wow, as well, using his set. Good pick down below. Varrel somehow sneaking an advantage. Kali falls as well. The lurk from the Ash. The backstab from behind and around that really looked great for Cyclops. Just fumbling it at the final hurdle. And I use that term lightly because it is only halfway into the action phase, but around that looked good for the defense. The initial push stalled. It's just completely fallen apart.
And Anaton is caught out as well here. What an attack round from Varrel. The execute not quite what they hoped for, but a win nonetheless. I gotta say, that was probably the most unusual rush I have ever seen, guys. And honestly, quite genius, right? So you've got a ton of smokes in the lineup. You've got your Glaz, your Ying, and your Gridlock, right? So you've got Gridlock and Ying on the CCTV window, chucking in their util, including their smokes to cut off the key lines of sight. And then one player running in to get that plant down quickly. Meanwhile, Glaz has chucked a smoke through the drone hole from the breach and got Maverick to open up a line of sight for him to immediately peer through. So that Maverick was not to trick the wall. it was to open up a line of sight for the Glaz to peer through the smoke. If the Planter had not been taken out, that would have been an open and shut case for Donuts Varrel. Unfortunately for them, it's now been seen, and it's going to be much harder to pull off something like it in future.
I mean, it was a great plan, but they kind of overlooked the small, just a minor detail.
There's one operator on the defense.
Yeah, who's the one operator that the defense had that can look through all 6 smokes, all the candelas, and was in perfect position to eventually kill the planter? I mean, who was it?
You could even ban out the Warden, right, instead of the Kaid, but then you're going to run into issues on other bomb sites. You're going to have to bring more Thatcher and Maverick that you probably don't want. As you can see now on their basement attack, they don't bring either of those ops, and nothing that would counter the Kaid. But yeah, I don't know. The other thing is that I just think there's a big weakness in that attack style of like one lone C4, even without information, could completely nullify your push. So very risky play shown by Varrel as Akayu is sending it down dirt here. He's met with a shield and a player on the other side. It is the Warden, in fact, of Suzu.
5 versus 4 is elsewhere. Black Ray able to snipe first, and that Nook taken down, presumably on a lurk entry, and oh my goodness, Cyclops, they double down. Aggression over towards main stairs. 2 lurks from Varrel.
My God.
Don't tell me that was a 3rd. Well, perhaps it was even a 4th. The final now stranded in towards dirt. There's no point getting too excited in this round. Monty can be good, but surely not good enough for 5.
Is he getting run out on?
the first. Yeah,
yep.
Run out from behind. Yeah, I mean, it's Cyclops, Dev. They're not just going to sit in the building. That's boring.
You're going to castle him off as well. Almost actually got in there. Anderson's low HP. And Akai almost managed to take him out. He's now heard this kitchen window being prepped, but let's just take a moment. He's basically going to get a bait now. He doesn't even have diffuser. Let's take a minute to appreciate that attack from Varrel, or lack thereof. Once again, really showing quite a pacey strategy very early on. They love it, don't they? But there were a lot of things that Cyclops did that really nullified it. And even just from the perspective of the Monty, the big thing is that shield, right, inside of dirt. You cannot get past that. You've got to vault it. And as a Monty, you never want to be vaulting anything. It exposes your legs, your arms. Makes you very vulnerable to getting shot or getting knifed. And for the rest of Varrel, I think that the idea was just to kind of nullify this roam by rushing. And that absolutely did not work. We didn't catch much of it on camera, but as you can see from the lineup with this castle, with Chibisu on the Solus, this is a very roam-heavy defense. We can even, now that we have a chance to see it, have a look at this setup, right? The moto hatch is open, there's lines of sight into stock. So this is very much like a roam-centric setup, and it's just so hard to rush against that if you have to enter the building. If you're doing all dirt, then by all means, but it's just not going to work like this.
Oh, we get an opportunity to breathe. An unofficial tactical timeout being taken by Akayu here at the conclusion of the second round. He'll just sit outside and...
He cannot be safer right now. Like, he's outside, he's in a corner, and he's Monty. You would need like 2 players out. I really wish CAG had farmed him, like, went running for him. But...
Well, if they knew where he was right now, they 100% would. Like
yeah, exactly.
Oh, and it's in to go searching. But a little too late here from Cyclops to win it out in kills, but the timer will expire. And a good job there from Cyclops. The attack was looming. There were a couple of points of pressure, a couple of opportunities for the round to be really opened up there. If even only one of those 50-50 engagement goes the way of the attack, then Cyclops could have been exposed on side and forced to retake. But unfortunately for Varrel, doesn't pay off. And now we'll be monitoring whether or not they go for similar lurks later on in this game as we return to the second floor.
Many bombs as they can.
This time it will be CC2B.
What are we going to see from the attack, though? I mean, it's cool and all to see Cyclops on their defense, success or none, but the real spice in this game is coming from the rushes that Donuts Varrel have brought. Both of the rounds we've seen so far have been some kind of a rush. And as we see the repicks start to come out, Okamesh is teasing out this Ying. Once again, the Warden, now on Black Ray, is going to be the instrumental operator. I gotta say, like, I hate Warden, guys. I really do. I understand why he's necessary, but he's like the cheat. He's like, oh, there's flashes, there's smokes, well, let me just click my cheat button. But, I mean, if it wasn't for Warden, then I feel like every single round of Rainbow6 Siege would look like what we saw in round 1. And that would be just something
Imagine
else.
Warden back in, like, 2018
The
when it was the Ying
Glaz era. Yeah,
oh,
man.
wow. It'd be a completely different game.
He was one of the things that really killed that era, alongside, the Maestro looking out to see through smokes and flashes, alongside the bulletproof camera secondary gadget when that came out. But, Ying and Glaz have absolutely seen a resurgence recently. But, as you can see, the Ying switched off of instead a triple hard breach setup for Donuts Varrel.
Yeah, not particularly uncommon that you see triple hard breach here on Clubhouse. Really, if there is any map in the 9 map pool, it's probably Club where you'll see it the most. Just to ensure that you are well and truly getting the required walls open and not leaving much to be desired, leaving plenty of margin for error. Gemini to scout forward. Bedroom side of the map is clear, but there is obviously presence on the other side, on the objective itself, and Anaton proactive position inside of Con. That disrupted by the exterior breach, and just something that he'll now need none of. Wow. With an entry. And for Varrel, it's about trying not to lose picks, and as I say that, Kibisu to find the first all the way down in basement. Now, I presume he found that pick from main stairs and then elected to rotate, but now there's 90 seconds for the defense to hold out.
Well, it could have been... I don't know, it could have been from, kitchen window, looking outside, looking out onto the...
hatch, yeah.
Yeah, and then drop the hatch, looking onto this balcony. I don't know, we can't see if the hatch is open, but... it could have even been up through the con hatch. Yeah, oh, interesting. Well, there you go. That is actually 3 rounds in a row now, guys, that Cyclops have found the opener.
Is that a Xenox fun fact?
It's a DevMarta.
By a DevMarta match tracker brought to you by DevMarta.
That is exactly what that is.
I like it. Well, we'll see if it's enough to get the round across the line. 50 seconds now for the defense to hold out, and it doesn't feel like Varrel will have too much pressure on the site itself. Suzu allowed to just chill out in that garage rafters position. Varrel setting up for a plant through construction. The breach now open. There's some pressure on the defense.
If I'm Anaton, I peek this, to be honest. At this rate, I actually am pretty concerned now for CAG. Anaton's got to make a move at some point. The smoke goes out. Anaton does peek it. He loses his head. 3 on 3 now.
5.56 can do some damage. On full display. 15 seconds remain, and Cyclops falling at the final hurdle. The smokes go out. Blackberry full HP available, ready, up and raring to go. A 2v2. Caillou can't get in towards side. Oh, wow, pinching over towards red, caught out. The 1 versus 2, the plant not secured, and Cyclops, they just hold on.
Once again, we see the Warden really having an impact there. Even though he didn't actually get a kill through it, the fact that he was the top red stairs player and the attack really was relying on those smoke grenades to try and cover the entry from the thermite. I think that was a huge weakness of them. Also, in the late round, we really saw Donuts Varrel punished for the fact they hadn't breached that main CCTV wall. And, none of the hard breach tools were banned out. In fact, the Caillou was banned out, so if you see the electrification, you know it's a bandit. You know it's not too difficult to get that open, whether it's with a Maverick or whether it's by countering the bandit somehow. But Donuts Varrel decided to completely forego that, go for a construction-only push. And when on top of that you lose the man advantage early on, it's just never going to work out for you.
Now we go to bar, and I'm getting some bad flashbacks from a couple of play days ago where we saw the Japan League, a couple of teams dabble in it. The extension up above was really the name of the game, right? They'd hold up above quite fiercely, then get picked apart. No horizontal spread to speak of. So what will the approach from Cyclops be? Because with the amount of experience that this roster have and how deep their support staff are, and how many resources they have available, I would anticipate for this to be a little bit more of a nuanced setup compared to what we've seen prior.
We don't have any nuance at all on the Donuts Varrel side. It is Glaz and Gridlock once again, in tandem with the Lion. No Ying this time. But once again, the Warden on the other side is going to be the worst enemy of this potential rush. I don't know if it is going to be a rush, but for Donuts Varrel, they have some tools to enable these executes. Be it at the start of the round or the end. In comes the rush potential, and here he goes.
Perfectly timed. Kawau able to send it deep over towards double door. Now needs to think about how they're going to support that plan, and going down. Caillou will stick. But Cyclops respond. They deny the plant. They deny the rush. It completely falls apart. And look at that vertical control, a perfect line of sight. And that's what happens when you don't attack above. Those angles easy to create and easy to rain down terror from above. And DD Man and Kawau in the 2 versus 5. No information and no chances of bringing back this round dwindling by the second.
I appreciate the attempt from Donuts Varrel, but Cyclops absolutely ready for it with that top floor pressure and that vertical denial. No potential for a plan in sight for either of these players. Carwell has finally got that diffuser back. He was the one who's been in sight the whole round. Not a single Cyclops player has been on this ground floor for the majority of the round, by the way, and the one that has now lost his life. That's Chibisu. There is potential here for something to be cooked up by Varrel as the plan is started. Well baited, though, by Cyclops.
Just don't see it happening. Surely there's no way that Kawau gets one more. Opens up that window of opportunity for a plan. DD Man can then come across and cover. We'll go for it. Sound cue. The drop.
Wow.
That's one. That window of opportunity. Oh, slammed shut. I thought maybe it would open wide, but unfortunately DD Man on the glass unable to cover. Another bait with the plant. Now the push through. Kawau. He could isolate this one as well. Swing.
He's got the
peek,
read.
Shot.
Oh!
That's sharp. A 1 versus 2. 40 seconds to work with here, and Varrel may be able to bring this round back. The stick. 7 seconds. Cyclops, no vert. The push from Suzu. It's baited. Kawau swings for 1. Now the second, but the shot doesn't land. Cyclops just holding on.
Guys, that was unreal. Carwow. Wow. Had he won that, that would have been one of the best plays I have ever seen. And he got bloody close. Jesus. You can't be doing that to me.
I mean, he isolated those picks so well.
But he also, like,
a couple of
flicks
times.
like crazy. And, like,
Yeah.
every one of those shots was utterly insane. Like, the guy in kitchen would have never seen him. Never. I mean, he would go back in the replay. He would record his POV. He goes frame by frame. You would have never seen the ash on his screen.
No. I think there was just that slight hesitation, like right in that 1v2 in the cross. He wanted to take the shot towards, I think it was Suzu right main stairs, and then flicked. Obviously, then got that kill, but then compromised for a second. I mean, either way, he was caught in a rough place. Good attempts. Not good enough for a round win, though. Cyclops winning that tertiary site. They can now go back towards basement, what we anticipate to be the favored objective on this map. And for Varrel, these pocket strats not quite working out.
Such a shame as well, because it was so close to doing so. It was just that vertical control for Cyclops, and Varrel weren't seemingly aware of it, despite Carwell being able to get into sight. But once again, guys, have a look at this operator lineup.
Oh, no.
There is only one operator in this lineup that does not fit into that rush strat mentality, and that is the Flores, who's kind of the pinnacle of the opposite, right? He's great for this slow, methodical util clearing, but maybe combination could be perfect for Varrel. CAG have already found 3 rounds of defense, which is as many as they got in 6 attempts against Exist when they lost this map. So from a CAG perspective, they win 1 more defense here, and they are chilling.
They didn't bring the Warden this round, though. Maybe that's why Varrel elected to then re-pick back into a similar rush/execute very heavy lineup with flashes and the smokes, because they know that that Warden isn't in play. It's a possibility. All of that Solace, though, up who can scan for the plant would be a threat, especially with impacts for denial. I like this lineup, though. The floor is directly countering that as army. There's potential here. I'm gonna let them cook. I'm feeling something special here from Varrel. It certainly feels a little bit more well calculated comparatively to some of the other plays that we've seen.
And credit to Varrel as well, right? Like, they have, despite not bringing any hard breach dedicated, like no Thermite, no Hibana, no Ace, they've got the secondary tin can openers on Carwow, and now they've used them to open up the blue hatch and the moto hatch, which clearly you're not going for kitchen, but there's some real potential for an execute onto this church site, especially with that Monsita glass, the smokes, and like you said, no utility on the defending side that can see through them.
Are you? Flame or look, plan in the smoke, and the glass playing coverage over towards moto door, but elects to go deep. Can now plant the shield on his back. That coverage should be enough. For 4 versus 4, Akayu not contested, and now it's a tricky retake for Cyclops, but Anaton stepping up with UMP. Rento holding down that long corridor. It's a critical position. Anaton looking to respond, but the Nitro, I don't think that will land. No, it doesn't, but still, Cyclops, the advantage grows, but weakens. Now a 2 versus 2. One bot main, and I believe the other over towards short.
No way!
Barricade. It's perfect. Can Blackray cover this position? The flash may compromise it, and it does. Anaton falls off, but I thought he'd land the shot. Varrel, a well-calculated setup pays off.
We're finally seeing it, guys. We're seeing these rushes start to work for Varrel here. I really like that one. They brought just enough hard breach to open the 2 hatches that were necessary. They completely covered the site in smokes. They told the Ying to just go deep. Really, the Ying's job there is just to distract for as long as possible, try and get a kill. But even if he doesn't, the damage is done as soon as that diffuser is down, but the Monty could not survive. Had that Monty stayed up for a bit longer post-plant, it would have been so much easier for Donuts Varrel. But what's more, CAG had some real tools to assess the situation, right? Like, in that post-plant, the player at bottom main stairs for Varrel was really feeling the pressure, getting constantly pinged out by a Valkyrie camera that he couldn't spot. CAG got very close to winning that 2v2 retake. I'm happy, though, that Varrel have found some sustenance here on these rushes. I really love their playstyle, risky as it may be, and does in the final attack round for them. They're going up against a lineup without a warden once again.
Oh, again. Cyclops.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
I guess what do you take out though, right? On a site like bedroom, castle's critically important for cutting off the window cross. Bandit, Jacuzzi wall, Solace can plant deny below. Azami, a must pick, we're not banned, and then some catch to protect all of that util. So it's so difficult to justify that being replaced. And I guess fortunately for Cyclops, Varrel not electing to go for a particularly smoke and flash heavy execute. They are still available in limited supply, but I doubt we're going to see the entire strategy revolve around that util.
The only round that we have seen Donuts Varrel not go for a rush, they have lost. So I'm a bit scared for them. 4 out of 5 times they've gone for a rush with a 50% win rate, but an 100% loss rate on the times when they play slow and methodical. But the first step here is going to be breaching this Jacuzzi wall. We saw some of the teams earlier tonight, Northception and can't remember who they were playing against. Crest really struggled just getting this Jacuzzi wall open. Anaton's going to keep juggling it. It's going to be difficult for Donuts Varrel to clear it while there's an Azami Keeper barrier still protecting him.
As we hear those Roteros ring around Clubhouse. Line of destruction in their path. Cyclops have just been so good on the entry. Rental
A bomb has been located.
does find one back. Suzu has always been a threat, but Anaton, the friendly Nitro over towards Jim Thor. Devastating for Cyclops.
That is really bad. That is really, really difficult now for CAG to retain control. Anaton wants to keep juggling this wall. Akayu still has an exothermic in pocket. If he's able to clear off the batteries and there's no one to cover Annie, he should be able to breach open this Jacuzzi wall. Plus, man advantage for Varrel.
Just don't lose rounds from here. Shouldn't be losing rounds from here. But they poshed a Logi. Is this really the play? 50 seconds and Cyclops have been let back into this round. They just stroll through the front door. Akayu, Okamesh. 40 seconds on the clock. The flank being watched by Okamesh, but obviously he needs to make his way towards site. Cyclops know that. Fall back. Door now pressure. Oh, that's a clean shot. There has been so many clean shots in this game. Cully. The 1 versus 3. Both attackers critically low. All he needs to do is breathe on both of them and they will fall. The plant goes down, but he has no impacts. They would have been perfect for this position, but no! Shut down!
Unreal there from Varrel on the comeback. They lost the opening pick, they traded it back, and then Cyclops, it all fell apart. Anaton with the team C4, taking out his teammate, preventing himself from getting coverage. Donuts, Varrel still didn't get a breach open, and yet they close out the round. To my dearest surprise, guys, they made it work. And sometimes it just comes down to a couple of nice shots. I can't remember who it was on the floor as last round. Okamesh, I believe.
Okamesh, yeah.
Unreal shot onto Anderson. Just a quick little one-tap peek. And that makes all the difference in rounds like these. Now, we're in a position where CAG have only managed 3 rounds of defense, and we're seeing the same story told as when CAG played against Exist. They weren't able to win 3 attacks, and therefore they lost their game. It's going to be the same story here, unless if we see some more teeth on their offensive side.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Look, it's been a long day for me. I'm tired, but I just don't
5 seconds
believe the scoreline right now. It genuinely doesn't feel like Cyclops are getting outplayed to the extent that it's an even defensive half for them. But again, as I often say, that scoreboard, it's no fraud. It doesn't lie. Only the truth. As we flip sides, it's important that we don't cast too much doubt on Cyclops, and I think the Montang really, well, Cyclops could be a not doubt. We see it so often where teams do not want to face Anaton.
Yeah.
But in this instance, Varrel must have a plan ready to go.
I mean, Anaton's one of the best to ever do it on the Monty, and the real thing that sets him apart as a player is how aggressively he plays it. He's one of the players that's very unafraid of whipping out the pistol, whereas a lot of teams just use that Monty as an info gatherer, as a bully. Anaton himself will take 1v1s. He is an entry, right? And he's like, we literally have a trick named after him, like dropping to the ground prone and hip firing. That is known as doing an Anaton with the Monty. And it's just ridiculous how accurate that pistol is when you hit prone.
If I'm one of the players making contact on the stairs, I'm scared, but don't have to be too worried. Is Anaton now inside sprays to open up that barricade for a little bit of information, and the Vulcan canister in response.
There is a second
Another
one
on the door. So yeah, I mean that's gonna waste a lot of time, but it won't waste enough for that Monty to still have an impact later on in this round. Just stalled out for the minute. Play for info. Suzu will probably want to come alongside and dump some util as well, but not running smokes. The grenades instead.
Bit of a util bait game for CAG now. But Chibisu has actually managed to sneak into blue despite detonating the alarm. He has found a pick, as has Suzu with a nade. Massive advanced position now for Cyclops as they have both dirt and blue control.
Fuse on an island though. The push through dirt, it has been stalled. Kawau looking to lock down blue. Ubisu is low, so it should be a kill, and it is. Now able to push forward, can deny that entry from dirt. So it's not as easy as Cyclops would like.
There's 2 impacts on DD, and we can see how low Anaton has already got. They were ready for this Monty, but they might not have been ready for the Glaz. Anaton's been taken out, but still Suzu remains. Kawau and DD to pick up the pieces of the defense with 30 seconds for CAG to recompose. Still Diffuser lies in dirt tunnel.
No smokes available for Suzu. So probably not the worst outcome here for Cyclops that he has the diffuser tucked under his arm. Kawau and DD, man, have they got it in them? 10 seconds, that's all they need to hold out for to take the lead in this game. But Kawau sees white with a perfect flash taken down. And so too is his teammate Cyclops, able to recover their first attack.
What an attack at that. Despite losing the Monty, they showed no fear and they continued to commit to that dirt control. It's a great attack. Once you've got control of dirt and blue, you really have a stranglehold on the bomb site, right? There's nowhere safe inside of church. And you have a crossfire onto that dummies, that AK's position. You could really start to put that pressure on. Had they had the kitchen hatch open as well, that really would have been round over. But Varrel kept up the fight. CAG, though, have shown that despite not getting an advantage coming out of their defensive half, they've got the attacks now to back it up.
Cyclops. Maybe a sense that they were able to get away with a round that otherwise shouldn't really have been theirs. It was a 50-50. Ultimately, they played it out quite well. We're now in play for this top floor, and we know that it can be quite tricky to
5
deal with.
seconds left before insertion.
Often the checkpoint for the attack is just opening up Uzi, but you just add that
Attackers
second
must
layer.
locate and defuse
A
the
little bit
bomb.
more pressure. This makes that entry a little bit more challenging. Solus as well, roaming around, looking to
The
hunt
attacker's
down
bomb
drones. It's
diffuser has
already
been dropped.
3
Attackers recover the bomb diffuser.
down. But I guess the benefit is when you have Montagne, you have Attitude, he can just kind of beat through.
You see the Solus is still using her gadget, keeping an eye on the drone game. Cyclops have done an excellent job of getting this information on Akayu, who's roaming upstairs inside of CC. Still, the CAG repositioning now. Not hard committing here. Okamesh is also up inside of Cash, as Suzu's going to get this breach down.
Easy as that. Panel's now opened up, and you can see the immediate response from Varrel is to back away, and unfortunately, DD Man falls into the line of sight of Black Ray. Not often you'll see... Sorry? Go.
I was just going to say, CAG just absolutely dominate the opening picks. I haven't recorded every single round, but I have recorded at least, what, 5 of them? And there's not a single one of those rounds that Varrel has found the opener.
And I was going to mention, right, it's not often you see Habana posting up numbers on all maps of Clubhouse, right? You're so distracted with everything else, but Black Ray, obviously off the back of a good defensive half, still having an impact here on attack.
The big difference for me is whether CAG are going to go and try and breach that external wall. They have the Thatcher, which is something we didn't see from Donut's Varrel. And Akayu isn't currently in a position to juggle it. Arkali has just droned out that position, so we should see that breach come out. But for now, Okamesh still trying to hold on to Con, falls back.
Look to now play into these carries. 70 seconds. Over towards Jacuzzi go. The Thatcher EMP will enable the right-hand side to be opened up. And Akayu is going to bounce it to perfection just before that exothermic can detonate. And Suzu with none remaining.
Yeah, that is a critical error from the Thatcher. Akali missed his EMP, and because of that, there was enough time for Akayu to rotate over. Now, another pick for CAG on the back of a nade from Chibisu puts them in a man advantage, and they might be able to get it done without this breach open.
Just looked over on the side. Trade out these picks. Arkali to head the charge, but the first pick does not go the way of Cyclops.
What is
Done
going on?
down. That's Monty. That's the front line. 3 versus 3.
No!
Rento, one shot. Probably has the advantage, but no. Shotgun even at that range, not effective. At Akayu in the 1v3, retaking up main. One of the more challenging retakes on any map. But he gets into Logi, not contested. No one holding the cross.
the
and he catches
timing!
the Yana off guard.
10 seconds.
Sloppy, but now can play off the mirror. No Nitro, so he can't look to deny over that Kiba barrier. And Cyclops again, closing out a close round.
It's scary, guys. It's messy, but Cyclops have strung 2 together on their attack. 1 round off of match point now. And that was some serious heroics from the Fnatic alumni. Chibisu really stepped into his own on that round. We may well be going to a tactical pause here, I believe, seeing that the admin has opened up. The observer has opened
He's
up.
baiting.
Oh, just baited. That's fine.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Wow. What a game we have.
Oh, we're going bar, we're going bar. I'm scared.
We are.
By attackers.
I'm terrified, but hey, funnily enough, it was one of Cyclops' most convincing defensive wins was the failed bar rush from Varrel. My question is, does CAG reckon they can do it better? And I have another question for you as well. Where has Annie been on this Monty? He's been struggling time after time. We talked about how aggressive he is as a Monty player. He seems to be losing his life in a lot of avoidable circumstances. In that round, right, he got inside a logistic, which is great. He must have tried to take a fight because he lost his life really early in one of those fast picks from Varrel, and that almost lost the round for CAG. He's actually going to switch off completely and go the Kali. That's something we've almost never seen. You know, Kali came into the game meant to be as a Thatcher substitute, not as a 360 trick shotter. I think Annie's going to go for some, you know, MW2 plays right here on the scope. Look at this, mate. Brought to you by Ubisoft. Hey, I will say, the Lance is actually pretty good for util clearing, right? Like, let's see him use it right now.
On the castles, you can, I mean, there's a couple of positions, especially on this site, you can hold some long lines, hold, stop maybe if the wall's open.
It is weird though, like, I can understand a Glaz more than a Kali. Not that they really fill the same role, but in this strat, I just don't see what role Kali has to play.
Well, we've hyped up Anaton. He underperformed. We doubt him. He'll probably get a 3K. So let's wait and see. Suzu, smokes, deployed. Second getting stuck on the teammate, but at least the first lands over towards the doorway. Tracks him.
I can't believe this.
At distracting the opponent, masking the sound, but the denial from Varrel. On point from Akayu. They don't even need the Warden. I'm not sure how much information was being fed by the Solace, but nonetheless, Chibisu, in the meantime, has been able to sneak up above an Anaton. Well, that's one. 2 more to go for the 3K. Diffuser down, though. Over towards front door. Question will be, does Varrel know? I guess they'd have a rough read. Half the round, though, to go for Cyclops to formulate a response.
Well, Cyclops are an enigma, right? The way that they play things. I would not be surprised if the plan all along was to do a plant which was just a bait to get the guys on the top floor to overextend and get caught out by Chibisu and Anaton, which seemed to work. We still have Rento up and alive, and Chibisu doesn't have a drone before him to hunt down this player. As I say that, Suzu gets one out. It's going to spot out Rento. Now Chibisu absolutely favored to win this. I believe it's Annie on the hatch, who does trade him out at the very least. But now those yokai drones are still up and alive for Okamesh, who's retreated into Strit. There's information on site for a potential retake, as he has taken down Suzu as well.
I'm getting excited. We thought maybe the 3K. 2 so far for Anaton. We'll need 4 for the round win. Match point on the line for Cyclops, and it's a good drone. Lots of information. Oh, I'm nervous. Question will be, though, how much information for the defense, and that's not a great start. Walking straight into the goo mine. The cross established. Varrel not over peeking. He pushes forward. Yep, straight into it.
Yeah,
what a response there from Varrel. Yeah, well played.
Very well played from Varrel. The yokai is very impactful. I was impressed that Anata was able to spot one out in bar so quickly and take it down. Not going to be able to use that spot later in the game. Having a look at the scoreboard, Anaton has hit 10 kills now. I believe at least 2 of those were on the Kali. Varrel have shown that they do have some substance on their defense. However, a lot of these rounds seem determined on whether the defending team can counter the attacking rush, right? Because I'm going to say it, that is like the 5th rush we have seen so far this game.
There's no rest for the wicked on the defense. Certainly can't be distracted in the first 30 seconds of the round or you'll get caught with your pants down. Good denial in the last round there from Varrel initially over towards that front door entrance, and despite a couple of defenders then getting caught up above, those that were able to retreat to safety did so, and then Varrel with man advantage to close it out.
I gotta say, you know you're watching Japan League when there are 5 rushes in 9 rounds. It's just something else.
5 seconds to go.
Will we see more though? That's the question.
Absolutely. Absolutely is the answer. I have no doubt about it. It's a relatively low smoke load this round though. Anaton still has them. For me, I feel like these rushes, I mean, they're great. I love seeing them. But I would love to see more fake rushes, you know, where one of these teams pretends to be rushing, but then actually is just holding down lines of sight. You can waste quite a bit of smoke and flash utility in pretending to rush without actually committing, and it's not that detrimental, right? Like, you don't need that util later on necessarily.
I mean, the thing is, the util really shouldn't be that useful anyway. Often it's going to be to the attacker's detriment if you're not dealing with that warden. So you bait out that util, you may be able to then reposition the warden, get him out in an unfavorable position, take him out, and if you have anything spare, you use it.
Another one is I'll just say the Solus, right? So Solus can see the plant from quite a long time away, so it can kind of counter those bait rushes.
No appearance in this round though. Either way, Cyclops going for a very standard push. Straight through CC, now into Cash, Anaton to lead the charge, the diffuser in his back pocket. Inside of Con. ED man. He has to keep a barrier to aid in this contact fight. On wall to his right, not opened up, so no real risk of being exposed to that position. And he's watching come out from CCTV. No doubt. Question now will be, does he decide to fall back? And he does. Doesn't get caught out there by the attack. But that position now vacated and it's black rated, creates space elsewhere, potentially cutting down a roam.
Yeah, I really like that. So Okamesh was just rotating on through Lounge. And so your flank watch, Chibisu, did some good work. Now he can pivot into a lurk. He's actually pivoting back onto the front line, so he's supporting with his teammates now just on the drone, but he does have the nades, which are going to be really critical for clearing out some of these Azami Kiba barriers that are defending these power positions. I really want to focus on Anderson here, because he's once again the tip of the spear, but needs to make sure not to lose his life too early.
Oh, the spear lunging forward. It's a double. 2 clean headshots leave DD Man in the 1 versus 5. Cyclops marching forward towards match point. DD Man, well, he gets 1, so it won't be flawless, but it will be pretty tidy in the end from Cyclops.
Don't ever turn your back on Anderson. That's what he said right there. Unreal. I don't even know if you can call it a spray transfer when it's with the pistol. This guy is unbelievable. Spots out one player, immediately transfers to the second. Now I can only assume this is a Donuts Varrel timeout. The top fragger is the Monty player, is the infamous Anderson himself. And CAG are cagging their way towards second place in their group.
Cagging?
Yes?
Care to define?
I did not stutter. Well, I think this was defined during SI, and I don't appreciate the definition that some people had for it. But the definition that was originally created for cagging was when a team does the wrong thing but wins anyway. Now, I resent that. I want to say when they do the unusual thing and it works out anyway, and that is CAG for you. That is CAG, the team that we know and love. There was actually someone at SI with a flag.
Pull them out. Come on.
No, I don't even know who it was. Like some fan in the crowd who had this big flag, and I think it said "Let's get cagging" or something like that, or get
I think
cagged.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I absolutely love it. I'm all here for it, and that is what this team has really become famous for, right? This unique play style, and we see that in the entire of the Japanese region, with Varrel going for rushes on 4 out of their 6 attacks. It just goes to show the real flavor of Japan in Rainbow Six Siege. It's got some real richness to it, and I absolutely love it.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Well, on a more serious note now, Cyclops 6-4 up in this best of 1. A victory will propel them into second place for Group B. And Varrel, well, they'll retain their position in... Oh, sorry, pardon me. They will be knocked down into third. Keeping in mind that these teams are second and third respectively heading into this match. We theorise that the Cyclops, it's not necessarily a must-win, but it would be a favourable one at that leading into the bracket.
The return of the Ying here for Black Raid bodes well for CAG. No Warden on the other side does not bode well for Varrel. The mirror, though, can be quite powerful at establishing these positions, but I can't think of many places where this mirror won't be nullified by the Monty or that Ying. Even the Hibana is a valid counter to that mirror. For now, it's a game of roam clear for CAG, and we can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's that 5th player from Varrel? Oh, in dirt.
Up north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All five players from Varrel on the bomb site. So once CAG complete this roam clear, it should be a swift pivot.
I wonder if it comes down to Anderton being that win condition, because last time on this particular objective, he did get stalled out hard over towards dirt, countered by the smoke, countered by the deployable shield. It wasn't particularly fun for him, so he's just going to ignore it this time. Oh, I'll just go straight down blue, fair enough.
Yeah, well...
Few mines will be an issue, but looks like he's dealing with it.
I will just point out the Varrel buck ban, I think, is actually really, we're seeing that come into play here, because with CAG so good at taking blue and dirt control, the real threat is West Arsenal, so deep inside of that B bomb site, and that's what the buck is really good for clearing. But it looks like Arkali is actually going to do it safely from upstairs inside of logistic office, so this is your substitute for the buck, right? The reason he's not in kitchen itself with like a sledge or something is because he's vulnerable to those C4s and to vertical play. But here, I think he's managed to push a lot of those players out and made room for Anderton.
Almost got a kill as well, but not rewarded for his efforts. Minute to go. Cyclops edging closer towards this execute. He demans those 3 keeper barriers in pocket, so he'll be able to place those down accordingly. Hatch still being contested. Eventually, though, should be opened up. Only 2 X-Kairos remaining, so Suzu needs to make this stick. Now WoW has impacts. Can he deny? No. Hatch open, plant ready.
Yeah, this is massive now. This is the thing that CAG were missing last time. And now they have it. It's fully clear. Anderson once again going for the aim down sights, but he has the diffuser in his clutches. He's going to have to get it down.
And the smoke countering the Monty. Once again, Anderson forced over towards that western position. Suzu to play coverage. Up above to find Okamesh. A 2 versus 3 though. Anderson nullified on basement, but it might not matter. 2 remain, but it's only 10 seconds in the bank for Cyclops. It's going to take a mighty effort from Suzu and Black Ray, and I don't think they've got it in them. Varrel, they survive for at least another round.
And a huge round from Kawao on the Legion as well. He is the perfect counter to that Monty, but not just that, to the entire playstyle of CAG getting in the building, going for those rushes really late in the round. We even saw right at the end that Hibana, desperate to find a pick, was caught out by Aguma and couldn't sprint, couldn't go deep, and looked to trade out his teammates. Now Varrel threatened overtime, and I believe it's Cyclops here taking their own tactical timeout.
Anderson just not having as much of an impact on that basement site. That's twice now. Especially the smoke, I think, is causing a lot of issues. Again, you add in the Legion as well. It's just another layer of complexity to deal with. Couldn't get that plant down. Couldn't really pressure many players. Certainly not as many as he would have liked. And this is a big round. I love this round. I love this round so much. Cyclops, obviously match point. Varrel looking to edge this one into overtime. And an overtime for Varrel will still be good enough. An overtime win will still be good enough to finish in that top spot.
And if you thought this couldn't get any more exciting, can you tell what bomb site we're going to, guys? I don't read Japanese, but I know those first 2 characters. We're going to bar. We're going back, baby. This is going to be hectic. Absolutely heckers. Cyclops went for that rush last time, and it did not work out. Varrel succeeded in countering that attack, and even though it got very close with Cyclops pivoting to some top floor control, I think it was namely that echo from Varrel that really gifted them information on site and allowed them to deny it. We're seeing that echo once again, and also, pivotally, the Solus, who can spot out not only where the drone work's coming from, but also that plant itself. The Legion as well is not to be understated in this setup, in any round when you're going up against Anderson on the Monty.
Oh, bar. I couldn't think of a better stage to play out what may be the final round in
See what you did there?
Game. Options are plenty. I think the approach from Cyclops that we saw last time, right, with the gridlock smokestack front door, probably not going to happen again. I think it did have somewhat the desired effect that they would have wanted, but I'm looking at them to just lean into that Monty a bit more heavily, right? Maybe use that to gain traction up above, find players that way. So in theory is a little bit more consistent and reliable.
Yeah, I'm a little bit scared for CAG's options here, because like I was saying before, I would love to see them go for like a fake plan, like pretend to go for the rush and then not actually do that. And, have someone watching, maybe even a Glaz, I think, could be great, peering through the smokes. But the scary thing is the Solus is in play, right? So she can easily just validate whether or not there is a plant going down. We'll likely have a C4 on the mute as well. If not, a bulletproof camera that can peer through all of those smokes. Plus, the echo is perfect for information as well. So I will say, despite me, I'm kind of on the CAG train. I love their game so far that they've played. And I would love to see them win this because I think it makes for a more exciting knockout. But I am all behind everything that Varrel have in this lineup. And I think they're probably in the advantage to win this round. The onus is on CAG now to prove that they can attack this bomb site.
Well, we do apologize for the delay. The technical pause currently taking place, so I guess an impromptu timeout for both of these rosters. An opportunity to let this stew a little while longer. Been a pretty hard fought contest, and equal scoreline at the conclusion of the first half, 3 apiece. And really has been a back and forth from that point onwards. The win conditions for both teams hinging on a couple of key players really stepping up, having an impact. It's been a... I don't even know how to describe it. I guess it's just another day in Japan. I was going to say it's hectic, it's crazy, it's insane, it's unpredictable, but in reality, it's just another day in Japan.
It is, it is. What are you thinking, Gus, in the long term for these teams, for particularly, I think, Donuts Varrel, right? Like, they have been topping their group up until today when Exist has started to stand in front. If they win this game, in regulation or overtime, they should be able to take out the first place over Exists. I don't know whether they've got what it takes to go to a major, though. We don't have that level of experience that we've got on a team like CAG.
Tough question. I don't know.
Are you seeing the spice I'm seeing in the chat right now? I'm just sorry to
I'm
change topic.
I'm going to be honest. I'm looking at the chat. I'm not even going to try and hide it. I'm looking at the chat.
I can't you pick
skin
smoke.
check.
Skin check. So for those who don't know, because I guess like we kind of forget.
Yeah,
but
probably explain it.
Yeah, so I mean, there's actually a lot of operator skins that are not allowed in competitive play because they're deemed to potentially give a team an advantage. So the blanket rule, as far as I'm aware, I think it's still this. So they're actually not going to play this round out. They're actually just going to check the skin.
Have you ever
that
seen
Akayu
this
is playing.
before?
I mean, I think Akayu is just leaving so he can change it. He probably knows that he's got the wrong skin or whatever. I mean, it's always a risk, right? They don't.
Well, we apologize for the delay. We hope you had fun farming your packs, but we're back. It's time to jump back into this best of one. Cyclops, Varrel, 6-5 the scoreline. So it looks like we're going to resume where we left off. Dev, what did you get up to during the break?
I had a lovely time. I was singing a little song to myself. And to you, unfortunately, if you had your headphones on.
I did.
Wow.
My ears have now been permanently...
Well,
by attackers.
good thing that the game is starting then, and we can get stuck back into it if you're just joining us. You've come at a good time. We're about to see either Cyclops take the 7-5 and therefore jump up over Donuts Varrel in the bracket. Otherwise, we'll see Varrel push OT here, which would be something else. Varrel, of course, are fighting for first place in Group B.
10 seconds to insertion.
It would be a massive upswing for them and give them a free win in the quarters, going straight directly into the semi-finals, 1PO3 away from the major. If Cyclops win this, they're just fighting for one slot above. Cyclops absolutely don't want to lose this. They would play Scars in their upcoming game, which we know are no strangers to a tough game.
Anderton, he's been pivotal in this game. When he pops off, when he creates space, Cyclops able to play around it. But there have been a couple of times where he's been countered quite nicely by Donuts Varrel. The main part of that, though, has typically been the smoke. Won't be played here on bedroom. Didn't really expect it to be. Pardon me, it is bar, not bedroom. But a bedroom extension up above. No rush from Cyclops. We saw a rush attempt last time and it baited some of those defenders back towards site, but not the case. Good line of sight established by our colleague over towards that kitchen hallway wall leading in towards stage. It's slow and steady here from Cyclops at the moment.
Yeah, but the first point of ingress will be DD Man holding on to construction control. I believe should be a breach on the wall inside a con from Cash. We do see Black Ray rotate over on there. I like that. The Azami. It's actually going to be Suzu to breach open this con wall. Make it very difficult now as the players start to fall on track, but these Azami keeper barriers just keeping Annie at bay.
Yep, just keeping him honest. They'll need to be cleared either by melee or with explosive material. DD Man, well, he's getting aggressive. Probes that position temporarily, but elects to then fall back, just jiggle it, see if maybe he can catch an attacker off guard. Anderton he's long gone. He's vacated that position now down below as Black Ray gets the entry. He's in the basement for Cyclops.
And here comes the smokes as well. Anaton's managed to sneak his way in sight. With that Echo taken down, there's no potential for those Yokais to deny the plan. Up comes Black Ray from the basement to backstab as Suzu is preparing for this plan, and it's all for Cyclops all day long.
But they're still wary of the presence up of Kowal. Well, he gets sent to the Shadow Realm, and it's DD Man in a 1v5. He gets the first, but he's traded out. Cyclops able to get this game across the line in regulation. It's the best result that they could have asked for in a group stage, which was going a little wayward, has now been corrected by one of, if not the best team in Japan.
A well-deserved MVP animation for Black Ray. He was the kingpin in that round. And of course, on the Hibana as well, the Japanese operator with that elite animation. You couldn't ask for something better here from